Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Medium's Table. I'm your host, Michelle Gardner. This podcast is your personal invitation to join me at the intersection of the everyday and the extraordinary. Together, we'll explore the magic of mediumship, share spiritual stories, and connect with fellow mediums on this incredible journey. So grab a seat, pour yourself a cuppa, and come join us at the Medium's Table, where spirits gather and stories unfold. Disclaimer, just a heads up to all our lovely followers. Our social media is a space where we share personal stories, including those of various mediums. Let's keep the vibe positive and respect each other's beliefs. Every journey is unique, and here we celebrate the diversity of experiences. I'd like to welcome back to the show our amazing panel of mediums for a very, very interesting topic. Welcome back, ladies.
Hello, hi. Michelle. Glad to be back.
And it's good to have you guys back because I know that you have had amazing experiences individually between all of you, and I know that your stories are going to be interesting, unique, and there may even be some opinions in here that we'll get to hear. But firstly, and it's going to be, I'll actually share the topic, angel encounters. Oh, Dawn's got the angel. There we go. Yes.
Another one.
Oh, yay. Look at that. And so this is a topic that is very dear to many. This is a topic that you may not believe in. This is a topic that maybe you're sitting on the fence. Who knows? By the end of this episode, you may be convinced or otherwise, but we'll leave that up to you. So without further ado, let's start with Leanna. What it is that you do, did I even say that right? What is it that you do, Leanna? Talk slowly, Michelle. What are you saying? Go for it.
Michelle, hi, everyone. So once again, I am a medium. I'm also a healer. I also have extensive background as a medical provider, and that's who I am.
Oh, nice. We've got someone here in the medical field. Whew, we better keep it clean, girls, and be precise because Leanna will be on to us. No, that's not facts. Anyway. Annie, would you like to share with the audience what it is that you do?
Everybody. Hi, listening audience. I'm an author, and in fact, I've written 2 books on angels and 3 books altogether, but 2 books on angels. I'm a grief recovery coach, and I'm a psychic medium.
Nice. Do you have your books there just quickly, Annie?
I have one right here, and again, it's not going to show.
That's all right. I will pop those up on the screen so everybody can see them. Thank you. Dawne.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. I practice evidential mediumship, and I'm also a Reiki practitioner.
Fabulous, fabulous. Now that we've introduced our mediums, the hot topic, angel encounters. Now, this also goes in line with sometimes sharing our opinions on angels or our thoughts. And I guess before we start, I'm going to have to come clean. I'm not actually a believer in angels. I know before you start throwing rotten tomatoes, I know, I'm booing me off the stage. Now, let me just give me a chance. Don't remember, we listen and we don't judge. Exactly. Put the pitchforks away. Now, a lot of people say, and I'm sure the viewers and listeners, some of them may be in the same frame of mind, believing is seeing. If I see it, I believe it. And I'm going to honestly have to say, I've never, ever had an experience or an encounter where I've felt, oh, that was an angel. I know it was. I've never felt that way. Now, I understand the term angel, and I understand, what people say when, what the meaning is behind it and the energy and the frequency. I get that. And it's not, and I will never dismiss anyone that believes, because I am the sort of person that I'm open to opinions. I respect what everybody believes, and I think it's important that we all do that. And I believe that you believe in them. And that's perfectly fine. That's wonderful. I think that's great. And you might even hear me sometimes say angels or talk about angels because other people know what angels mean. They know what they are when I say that. What do I believe? I believe that there are beings that perhaps present themselves as angel to allow the human to feel comfortable. I believe that there are, light sources that may project themselves in the form or the shape of an angel and have the vibration and frequency of an angel, of that higher source. And that's what I believe. Is it wrong? Is it right? I'll let you know when I get to the other side.
Beauty.
Yeah. And that being said, I'm going to pass on now to the first medium, being Leanna, to share her experiences, opinions, and whatever stories that she feels that we need to hear.
Michelle, it's so funny that you say, I'll believe it when I see it. So I believe in God. I believe in source. And I really believe that I have been shown since I was younger, because I do have a scientific mind. My brain is wired like an engineer. And I've always had to be shown things. Like, I'll believe it when I see it. And I'm very grateful that I actually have been shown things since I was little. Yes, there were times I was scared, but looking back, I'm just so grateful to God and to the higher source that I've been shown a lot of things so that I could say, of course, I believe it. How I have gotten into angels is the fact that both my parents were practicing Catholics in the Catholic religion. And so I was exposed to angels initially that way. Later on, just to skip stories, I was shown during a meditation Archangel Michael. And so you're right in regards to a light being, and that is how it's presented. He had, and I use the word he, not because he's a man, but he has a masculine energy. So just take that lightly if I say the word he. When he presented himself, because I pray or I meditate to Archangel Michael all the time. And all of a sudden, when I was meditating, and when you meditate, I see things in what's called the third eye here. And I saw him from afar, and he needed to be afar because of how powerful the energy was to me. That's how I can describe it. And he had the outline of this luminous, and there was so much illuminating light from him. And it was this blue translucent light. And there was actually a being that was standing next to him on one side. And it was to show me the depth of how far he was, because he couldn't be that, for me, he couldn't be that close to me because it was so overpowering. And the energy that it feels like for me to either pray or meditate to Archangel Michael was the exact same energy that he exuded to me. And so that's how I knew it was Archangel Michael in regards to the feelings that I've got. And, it is true, I am a medium. And so I can feel different vibrations and different energies. Like, this feels like a woman, this feels like a man. All I can say is, for what was projected to me, it felt like Archangel Michael. And it was amazing, and that was my true testament of who I speak to, who helps protect me. It was the actual, what I have placed the name of, the intention, Archangel Michael. When I can give you other stories in regards to my parents, for example, and me, but to start off with, my father, when he was in the Vietnam War, he hadn't seen anything prior to this or anything like this. So it was during the war. He was with his platoon, and what happened is that they heard things dropping on the floor, and everybody was looking, and it was a large platoon of military men, and they're like, "What is that?" And my father, when he tells me the story, he looks up and he's like, "Oh my God," and looks down, and it looks like it actually is a bullet that is like a foot away from his feet. And my father freezes, and he tells me, that he's going to die at this moment, what he's thinking. Oh my God, what do I do? What happened was, because he wasn't supposed to die, and this is what resonates with us and how this story is described, an angel appeared to him. Now, remember, he was brought up in the Catholic religion. An angel appeared to him and said, "You're not going to die today. You need to move." And my father didn't move. He was still frozen. Okay. Then the angel flashed through his eyes his whole life story, all the way, all of his kids, what he was going to do for a living, even the day he was going to die, and said, "You have to live. You have." Sorry, I'm getting choked up saying it because it's just amazing on how he tells the story and what it did for him. You have to have all these things occur. You have a bigger purpose here. You have all these children that have other purposes here. You have to live. And so what happened is he got out of it and he looked around and the whole platoon was gone by this time. And he started running. And he was saved from that day. And from then on, what he calls an angel stayed with him for the rest of his life. And he did not tell many people about this at all. But he had what he says, this angel in the operating room with him. He's an now retired medical provider. But this angel went with him everywhere. And he would say anything to him. "Don't go there. Okay, there's somebody bad there. Do this. This is going to happen 5 steps ahead." So that encounter for me with my experiences were so amazing to hear from me. And, I know people talk about guardian angels. And for me, I know a guardian angel could also be a loved one or someone on the other side that's associated with me. Okay. I know that I have had guardian angels look out for me. I will tell you this story. Oh my God. If my parents could roll their eyes right now. Okay. So I had this, your first love, right? Oh my God. And you're an adolescent teenager. And this is like, oh my God, you're going through drama, things like that. I was already graduated from high school and the relationship with my first love wasn't going there. I thought I was going to marry this man. I had made some mistakes. I had left to my friend's house and her house is like an hour and a half away in traffic, okay, with a lot of cars. So I get there, I stay there all night. I forget that I have jury duty the next day. I may have jury duty. If you guys don't know, in other countries, that means I need to serve for a court as a person and a witness. And I stayed up all night. And I was like, oh my God, I left my papers at home. Oh, I'm going to have to go home. And I haven't slept. Okay. So this is careless. I was young. I'm driving on the freeway and I'm falling half asleep. Okay. Not a smart move. I do not recommend it to anyone who's watching. It is not smart at all. But I know that I had a purpose that I had to continue to do. And that's why it was not my time to die. Because many times there was a little swerves and I was falling asleep. And then I'd feel like something would wake me up. And I'm like, oh my God. Well, when I got off the freeway and I got onto a block and a half away from my house, it did feel like something had been guiding me. And then all of a sudden, I fell asleep and my car jerked to the right when nobody was around. And I did take out the axle of the front of my car. And I knew that from that day on, that I was like, I'm being watched over. And yes, I knew this before. It's just that it was a double stamp for me, right? If you question or anything like that. And it was like, I needed to learn my lesson. I feel this way. Okay. This is what resonates with me, that I needed to learn my lesson and that I did have either also angels, guides, everything that was watching over me to protect me. But Leanna, don't do this again. For me, because angels resonate with me, because of the power of intention, I also ask for feathers. Feathers are my symbols for the angels. Okay. And so I did, for example, I'll just give you one, had this day where it was dreary and I, wasn't having a great day. And I was like, please, angels, can you just please show me the feather? And I know it's going to be you. Now, for some people who are new with signs, it may not immediately come to you that day, okay? Because of how dense the earth is. It can come to you a couple of days later, a week later, 2 weeks later. It just depends on the timing. Well, a couple of days later, I get a card from my stepmother and my dad. And it was a random card. I was like, why are they sending me a card? I think that's thoughtful. It wasn't my birthday. I open up the card, and right on top of the card is a feather. And I called my stepmom because I know she's the one that got it. And I asked her, thank you so much for thinking about me, but what made you think about getting me this card, or a card, but this one in particular? She said, you know, what's funny is I don't know. I was walking through the store and I was walking by the cards and something just told me to stop. And you came in my head and I was looking at the cards and the angel one just called out to me. And I was like, thank you. I knew that was from my angels. Okay. My mom has believed in angels since she was a kid. So I have this mentor, like I told you guys, I'm also scientific based. So there was a time, sorry for interrupting my own story, but there was a time where, like adolescence, I was like, really, does this really exist? You know, because I do need to have proof. And, but I've always been shown this way in regards to whatever, you know, in mediumship, of seeing whatever have you. And so, my mom would tell me about angels all the time because she was also brought up Catholic. And then I had a mentor in regards to mediumship that talked about well, actually a couple of mediums that have talked about angels. And they've all said the same stories about all the different ones. And they brought up, did you know that you could have any type of angel, a parking angel, an exercise angel, whatever have you? And so my mom has always been talking to angels. So I brought it up to her and I said, Mom, did you know that there were parking angels? And so she's told me all the times that she's asked for a parking angel and they've always been there to guide her. Okay. Her talking to her angels, she had told her angels a while ago, I know, nobody get on her. Okay. Just in case. I only want 6 grandkids. And guess what? I wanted more than 1 kid. And guess what happened? I only got 1 because that was the 6th grandkid. Okay. And I'm like, Mom, everything you say happens. She told her angels, can you please help me and make sure my daughters don't get married? Her twin daughters don't get married until their 30s. Guess what happened? She didn't tell us this until afterwards. We both got married in our 30s. So I told her, can you stop asking for things? Okay. Because I only got 1 child. I'm grateful for that. Okay. I'm just, you know, it's just a laugh. We have a laugh in regards to it. But really, it comes out that way for my mom in regards to her protection, in regards to knowing that. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else in regards to angels. Like you said, Michelle, sometimes I also feel that they come as orbs. I do have some orbs that have come to my ring door, my video, and sometimes because of my intuition, I do wonder, was that an angel? My daughter also has seen angels when she's little. She's young. And for her, they started coming to her as they look like glitter or sparkles. And when she started associating, she says, Mom, these are my angels. My angels are coming to protect me. So there's a lot of different situations that we've had in regards to angel encounters. And I'm really grateful because I just want him to hear it, although he's not a he, masculine. I am so grateful to Archangel Michael for actually showing himself to me, to show me that his essence, that is his energy, actually exists. And for me, when I have an angel encounter, because of the feeling, the knowing, getting used to my perceptions as a medium, what happens is it's this higher energy that I get. And so that's what I've associated now when I have an encounter with an angel. It feels always the same in regards to that encounter. And like I alluded to before, exercise angels. I've actually asked for an exercise angel because I had no energy and I got the energy,
I need one of those.
Yes. Okay. I'm not trying to like go crazy, but yes, it's for me, it resonates with me. And I definitely believe in angels.
Yeah. I love that your mum has a lot of responsibility in her hands when she's asking for everybody else, which I find interesting because how often have we heard you cannot ask for something for someone else if it's something that they want? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
As a form of, some people see it as control, or you're trying to manipulate someone's future.
So I will tell you, I really believe, being as intuitive as I am now, is that in this lifetime for my mother, it was to show her that this type of energy exists, and that for some reason, and angels have been very strong with her ever since she was little. And she's never seen them, but she always knew she had angels. Now, she knows she's careful now because of what has manifested. She is careful now. She doesn't do that anymore because we showed her, right? Like, now look at this. She's like, oh no, this is really powerful, because there is something else for her that she talked about, and then it came true. You know what I mean? So she is careful now, and she's been careful for a while, but especially after I was like, thanks, Mom. I have one child.
Yeah.
You met your sixth child criteria, your grandkids.
Yeah.
Stop asking for things.
And so many people are probably saying right now, could she wish that you did lotto, that you won lotto, but I know it doesn't work like that.
No,
but
of course, it doesn't go past what is your purpose, your life, all those things. So
yeah. No. And I can imagine every time something happens, you'd be on the phone straight, Mum, was this you?
Yes. No, and it's not. It's only been a few things. That's why.
Yeah, but they're really still big life predictions, I guess you could say, to some degree, that have manifested and come true.
Yes.
They're not just little things, like I don't want to say little things, but like finding a feather, or I don't know, you got something on sale that you really wanted. These are big life events for multiple people.
Yeah. That's why she doesn't do it like that anymore. I forgot to mention Archangel Metatron. So if people aren't familiar, there is if you believe, or if it resonates with you, there is an archangel that's called Archangel Metatron. And I have spoken to Archangel Metatron. Archangel Metatron sends me signs through music. And so I always get a sign for me, because this resonates with me, with Archangel Metatron sending me signs through music. Many things, if I question, should I go that way or whatever, I've always received a song somehow, either somebody singing it, the radio, anyway, the lyrics pop up, there'll be a message within that song. So I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, that's not the first time someone's spoken about messages in songs, and certain songs that play, that are messages that we need to hear. They're obvious. It's not just, you know what I mean? Like, when you know.
Yeah, no, it's obvious.
Yeah. Wow. And I just want to say, your dad's story is phenomenal.
Yeah.
That just, wow, to have his life flash before his eyes and to be
his
guided.
Whole life.
Yeah.
His whole life.
That's, wow.
And then after that, he always had the angel by his side.
Yeah, that's the first I've heard of somebody having their life that hasn't lived yet shown to them, as opposed to at the end of their life and then shown what happened before.
Yeah.
That's
Now I
amazing.
can understand. My father in medicine has helped so many people. Can you imagine if he would have passed that day? My father has, how many of us are there? 4 kids. One does this professionally, what I do for a living. Everybody has this purpose and they all have kids, and we all needed to lead a purposeful life. And if he wouldn't have survived, I mean, of course, there's more than just this. I'm just giving you examples. None of this would have happened. And that's how important it was. It was not his endpoint. It wasn't his time to go. And it's like, look, the only thing that's going to make you move if I show you your whole life so that you understand, because he wasn't moving. He said, I'm dying here. I'm dying. I'm done. And he was going to let himself go because he was shocked. He was stuck. And then, that's how they got him to move, was showing his whole life.
Wow.
Yeah. And some may even call that a miracle.
For me, it's a miracle.
Yeah.
I will call it a miracle.
Yeah. Incredible. Just incredible. Oh, when you were telling that story, I'm just getting goosebumps, and it's just like, that's phenomenal. So it is, like you said, Dawne, like a pre-review of his life before before he was at the end. That's yeah. And if that's not going to make you move, I don't know what will, to see all that. Like, that's motivation. Yeah.
Who he was going to marry, everything.
Wow. Which kind of then proves, which is a whole nother subject and topic, that is everything already preset and we're just living it. Anyway, going to leave that just settle there as it is.
There's another show.
Yeah, I'm seeing that one coming up. Mm-hmm. Thank you for that, Leanna. That was,
thank you.
I'm just a bit blown away already. We've only just started. Annie.
Well, as I said in the beginning, I've written 2 books on angels. So I'm going to try and get this down to just a few stories so I don't hog the whole time. But one of the stories I want to tell first isn't mine. I was at a what they call an open mic here, where authors come and talk about their books and this and that. And I was talking about angels. And this lady in the audience said, well, do you mind if I come up and take the mic for a minute and tell an angel story? I said, no, go for it, So she comes up, and I live near Daytona Beach, Florida, and this takes place a bit north of here in Amelia Island, which is up near Jacksonville, Florida, up at the very north end of the state. And it took place, I think it was either in the 50s or the 60s. I think it was in the 60s. And it was a Black woman telling the story. And at that point in time, Blacks were having a bad time of it. And in fact, here in Flagler County, there was a sign on the bridge for years. I never saw it. It was gone before I got here, but it said, don't let the sun go down on your face. And that was meant for Black people. They were not to be out after dark. So at any rate, we're in Amelia Island, and this lady had her mom who was sick. She had some kind of illness that she felt could be cured by a healer that was coming to a nearby church. And it was her and her mom and another family member. And there was 2 ways to get to the church. And one way was safe, but it took longer. And the other way wasn't so safe, but it didn't take as long. And apparently time was precious, so they decided to take the shorter way. Unfortunately, the car broke down. And it broke down in front of a tavern or a bar, however you say it in your country. And it was quite an active tavern, I guess I would say, and all white. So the husband got out of the car, and he decided to go walk to try and find a gas station and bring gas back to the car. And he instructed him to sit put, do not get out of the car. So they're waiting and they're waiting and they're waiting, and it's starting to get dark. And now they're really worried because they aren't safe. They just aren't safe. They don't know what's happened to the husband. He's not back. So they decide maybe they'll just chance it and get out of the car and go over to the tavern, thinking maybe they would be safer inside the tavern. And they get across the road into the parking lot, and this large, dark colored car pulls up. It's got 3 women in it, and they're blocking these people from getting into the tavern. And they said, "Where are you going?" They said, "Well, my husband went for gas. Our car is out of gas. He told us to stay, but it's getting dark and we're afraid." And the women looked at them and said, "Get back in the car, lock the doors, do not get out of that car, and we're going to go look for your husband and bring him back. Wherever he is, we'll bring him back." So they went back. And in the meantime, things are not good in this tavern at all. Things are really getting very, very uncomfortable, you might say. They've been spotted. Three women, black women in a car out front, just parked and sitting there. They're like sitting ducks. So they're waiting and they're getting more and more nervous. And finally, this strange car with the women come back. They've got the husband, they've got the gas, and they turned around to thank them in the car, and the women disappeared.
Wow. Wow. Goosebumps. That's all I can say.
Oh,
I love that story. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Yes, tell your story. So another story is I'm retired law enforcement. And one of the troopers came up to me one day. It was dead of winter. And my station was near Oneida Lake, which is a good sized lake. It borders on 4 different counties. And it freezes over in the winter. But unfortunately, it never really completely freezes over. There's always at least one snowmobiler that goes down every single year, at least one. So this fella is, I don't know, I'd say 6'2", probably 6'2", 275, 280. He's a big guy. He and his brother and a couple of their guys go snowmobiling at night in the lake.
Oh my God.
So they're out snowmobiling. Unfortunately, Mike hits a patch of ice. And I have to stop here just because this happens so many times. I know Mike didn't tell anybody else. He came up to me because he knew that I believed in angels and I woo-woo stuff, So I knew he hadn't told anybody else. And I always get the same sentence: "You're not going to believe this, but."
Yes.
And I wish I had $1 for every time somebody's come to me and said, "You're not going to believe this, but." So anyway, back to the lake. It's night. Mike is in the water. The snowmobile has gone to the bottom of the lake. Mike's in the water. Now, if any of you go snowmobiling, those are big, heavy, bulky outfits that they wear to keep warm. So that's adding to the bulk of an already bulky person, really. And he is trying to get up on the ice, and every time he gets up on the ice, he falls back in. And he climbs up on the ice again, and then he falls back in. And this happens over and over again, and he's getting exhausted. Meantime, his brother and his friends haven't noticed that he's gone. They finally realize Mike's not there. Pitch black out in the middle of the lake, right? Fortunately, his brother is also a trooper, brings out his cell phone, calls the station, has him get a hold of the helicopter, and says, "You need to get the helicopter up. Mike is down someplace on the lake." He didn't know where. Big lake. So again, while this is going on and the helicopter getting up, as Mike is still trying to get up on the ice and still falling back. Now, Mike eventually does see the helicopter with a spotlight, but the helicopter isn't hitting the right area where Mike is. And he figures he's just done. He is freezing cold. And he said, Annie, you're not going to believe this, but he said, I felt two hands pick me up and just toss me over the ice. Remember how big I told you this guy was, right? Just tossed him over the ice. Now, when the helicopter spotlight comes over, it stands out because here's this spread eagle body on the ice. They find him and take him to the hospital and all as well.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. Wow. Talk about a close call. Jeez. Wow. Yeah.
Those are two of my favorite stories. Now, a story that happened to me. I started seeing angels when I was around 2 or 3. And it was my playmate was praise ye the Lord. Now, that phrase, we didn't come from a especially religious family or anything. I didn't hear this phrase from my family, in other words. And most little children have, Tommy or Susie or whatever as their playmates. No, I had praise ye the Lord. I'm going to get back to praise ye the Lord in just a minute. But he was my first introduction to the angels, which are with me to this very, very minute. So again, I married a deputy, so we didn't very rarely ever work the same shift. He was working day shift, I was working night shift. And it started to snow. And when it snows in Syracuse, it's not by the inch, it's by the foot. So he gets out of the driveway just fine because it's only got a couple inches in the driveway. He just zips right out. By the time it's time for me to go, there's a couple feet of snow, 2-3 feet of snow in the driveway, right? Our snowmobile is broken, or not snowmobile, or snowblower is broken. All I have is this little shovel that I keep in the trunk of my car for if you get stuck on the ice and you got to, dig your way out. And it's just a little shovel. So, and I had hurt my back the day before to make things worse. So I was up by the mailbox, start there it was like shoveling with a teaspoon. I mean, it was just ridiculous, really. And I'm just shoveling and my back is hurting and I'm thinking, this is going to take me a week. I have to be to work. And now I'm starting to cry because I hurt and I'm frustrated. And I said, angels, I need help right now. I need help right now. I lived in a cul-de-sac, which for people aren't familiar, it's a big round circle and there's houses around the circle. And this truck pulls in. I probably could count to 5 on my hand from the time I asked for the angels. Here comes this truck. And pickup truck, and it's got a big old plow on the front of this pickup truck.
That's awesome.
And he comes straight for me. And he says, hey, lady, you need some help? I said, yes, I need some help. Well, get out of the way. So I go back in the garage and I'm watching him through the window, right? I mean, it was bada bing, bada boom. He's got the driveway cleared. So I go back out and I say, thank you so much. What can I pay you? And he said, no, you can't pay me. And I said, this is probably going to sound odd, but I said, right before you showed up, I was praying to the angels that I needed some help. And he says, you just never know who's listening.
Oh, my God.
Aww, I love that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I had one speak to me one time. By the way, I do love Michael. Michael, of course, is the archangel of law enforcement. I've always loved Michael. And yes, there's all kinds of angels before I get going on this. There is angels for everything, and there's a whole bunch of unemployed angels. And when I hear of a tsunami or earthquake or whatever, I said, unemployed angels, go, 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 go. As many of you can go. So anyway, I'm in the car and North Syracuse doing errands, coming up South Bay Road. And the car radio's on, and I am so mad at God. I am screaming at God because it's all terrible news on the radio. There's a war, there's floods, there's tornadoes, people dying, people shooting each other. I am just furious with God, and I'm giving God what for? I mean, get your ass down here and fix this mess. This is your problem. You created this. You fix it. So I thought I was alone in the car. Next to me in the empty seat comes this voice. It starts with you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all it said. That's all it needed.
Love that.
Yeah. Simple and straight to the point.
To the point.
Yeah.
Oh,
I almost
so.
because I hear this voice that doesn't have a body. But and I have thought on that phrase so many times since that day. It starts with you. And it doesn't mean just me. It's the general form of you. It starts with each one of us with the peace that's already inside us. I'm not going to preach at everybody, but that's what I think it means, is it starts with not Anne McAvoy necessarily, but everyone. So we'll get back to Praise Ye the Lord now. I am around 3. I heard my mother on the phone with my aunt talking, and my aunt really wanted a new dress, and this would be about 1952. And my uncle wouldn't let her have the dress, couldn't afford the dress, couldn't have it, and she was very upset. And I was just going to fix that mess for her. So my mother went shopping downtown, and my older sister was in charge of taking care of me. So we'd been out swinging, and we went back inside, and we went upstairs. I was still sleeping in a crib. And she took my shoes and socks off and this and that. And she went back out to swing some more. And she thought I went to sleep. Oh, no, no, no. I got out of the crib and went and got my play money and didn't put any shoes or socks on. I just took off. Now, this is a hot summer day, like 80, 85 degrees. It's in the city.
Oh.
I'm not in the country. I am in the city. So off I go to a location many miles away, but in my little brain, I can just go. So I did have Praise Ye the Lord come with me. And it was a puzzle. There was a lot of puzzles about this story, but one of the first puzzles was, how on earth did a little kid, 3 years old, cross all those streets with nobody helping her? Nobody walking her across or, waving at people saying, little kid coming or anything, right? Good question. But I had Praise Ye the Lord with me, who was stopping traffic when I went through. So we walked, I would say, a couple miles. And I should have gone up Franklin Street to get to my aunt's. I really, for a little kid, I didn't do too bad. But I went up State Street instead. And about halfway up State Street, this, again, a big car, big fancy car, pulls all along to the curb. Praise Ye the Lord knows the person driving the car. Turns out she's an angel too. And tells us to get in the car. So we get in the car, and I figured if it's all right with Praise Ye the Lord, it's all right with me, so I get in the car too. And it had a odd smell. And to this day, I can still smell the smell of this car. And again, remember, it's 1952. This car, I was just amazed because the woman just pressed buttons and the car did things. It didn't happen in 1952. In fact, it's only recently that you don't need a key on the newer cars. You just press this button. But that's this time. That isn't 1952. So we drive up to what is called the Park Circle in Watertown. And now, meantime, half of Watertown, or maybe more, is out looking for this little kid. Now, how they were looking for me all this time and missed a little kid walking up city streets by themselves, I don't know. But anyway, supposedly everybody was out looking for him. So praise ye the Lord, and this woman, who is an angel, park a ways back from this house and say, get out and go knock on the door and tell them your name and he will help you. I said, okay. As an adult, I realized this is very odd, but as a kid, I just follow the adult's instructions. So I get out, cross the road, go up, knock on the door, and he answers the door, and I says, my name is Aynne Bedore. I'm cold, and I gotta pee.
Priorities.
And I'm hungry. I said that too. So he knew exactly who I was, because people listened to the radios all the time, and it was on the radio over and over again. Here's this little kid. So for years, I thought that my mother arrived in a taxi, only that she took taxis everywhere. And the taxi the driver wore a hat, and he talked on a microphone. And of course, it was a police officer who wore a hat and talked on a microphone that showed up. Now, the kicker of this story is this wasn't any house. This wasn't just any house. This was the district superintendent of churches of Northern New York that lived in this house.
Wow.
So, okay, we're going to jump ahead 13 years. My best friend is now living in that house.
Wow.
Her dad is the new district superintendent of churches of Northern New York. I actually live in that house for a while with my best friend.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the intertwined, intertangled connections.
Isn't that just the neatest thing?
Yeah.
So I got one more short one. This was my grandfather, and I don't know if I told this story on this show or a different show, but this is in the late 1800s. And my grandfather is coming back from someplace. He's got the horse and the wagon and a lantern, and it's dark and it's raining. It's not raining, it's pouring. And he's coming up past, well, most everything was woods anyway, but he's in front of woods. And this woman comes out of the woods and reaches up and grabs the horse's bridle and stops the horse. And then she disappears. So Grandpa gets down and walks a little bit, and very close to where they were, the bridge had gone out.
Oh,
She stopped the horse and she stopped the wagon.
wow.
I love that story. You've mentioned that in a previous episode, which I will put in the description below. That's just incredible for I mean, what do you even think about that? And even back then, you know what I mean? Like, a woman just comes out of the woods, stops your horse, and then disappears. Like, what is that? You know what I mean? And then saves his life. Hence, here we are today, Annie. Same with Leanna. You know,
Yep.
Both of your father and your grandfather, Annie, have both been saved. And here
So
you are
have
telling
I.
your stories. Yeah,
Don't
that's what I'm saying.
forget,
Both
I
of you.
was saved driving my car. I could have taken a lot of people, and I could have died. Yeah.
Yeah. And here you are to tell
Mhm.
your stories. That's what I find incredible. Yeah, wow. It's one of those things you just, it's not always believing you're seeing, it's hearing these amazing
Mhm.
experiences.
And
Phenomenal.
these are all people I knew. I didn't know the woman that came up to the mic. Other people knew her that were at the open mic, but I knew everybody else where it happened to me in person.
Yeah.
So,
Incredible. It's just
The story
amazing.
she was telling about Amelia Island, as I said, these were rough times in Florida for Black
Yeah.
people. Very, very difficult times.
Yeah. And you know what would be interesting? And I know it's probably impossible to find out, but what happened to the people who were told to go and get back in the car? Was it the mother and you said the mother and son? Was it the mother and son?
The lady's mother and a friend and her husband was driving. So
Yeah.
it was 3 women and the husband. And they got away just fine. They put gas in the car and they left. But when they turned around to thank the women who go find this husband who's traipsing up the road with a gas can and whatnot, they can't because the car and the women and everybody has disappeared.
Yeah. But it'd be interesting to find out what those women or those people went on to do as to why they were saved. You know what I mean? Where you've been able to reference, Leanna, your dad was shown what was going to happen and how you guys all have done, had purposes, strong purposes. Same with you, Aynne. I mean, we've interviewed before all the things that you've accomplished in your life for your grandfather to be saved. So we can now track where you guys went and what happened for you and the lives that you've touched, saved, shared, moved people in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But it'd be interesting to find out what happened to those people and why, what was their purpose.
I'm sure it was, they had a mission. They each had a mission to accomplish.
Yeah. So, curiosity. So many questions unanswered. Anyway.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Thank you, Aynne. Dawne.
Well, okay. So I guess when I was first consciously starting on my spiritual path, I was probably in my early 30s, had 2 young kids, stay-at-home mom, a little frustrated. I kind of got into spirituality, and I find a good jumping off point for me was angels. And I read about angels and I embraced the thought of angels. And so I really felt that, they were there to protect us. And with my kids being so young, I decided that I would enlist the angels' help to keep them safe. Wherever they went, whatever they did, okay, we need an angel. You go with him, and that was that. So,
see, Michelle, my mother isn't the only one. Dawne is too.
Yeah,
oh yeah, there's and to this day.
Guilty.
I'm going to introduce you to my mother, Dawne.
Well, my youngest son actually is a pilot, and there's an angel under each of his wings, right from the get-go, but when this boy, he was probably 3 or 4, he was going outside to play, and I'm like, okay, we need an angel, send him out with Chris. And so Chris was climbing the tree in front of the house. And so he was in the tree, and for some reason I came out and he was falling out of the tree. And no word of a lie, he came headfirst along the trunk of the tree in slow motion, and he landed very nicely at the base of the tree. And I watched it with my own eyes, and I was like, thank you. Yeah, that was crazy. And with my other son, this was a couple of years prior, but okay, so you have heard back in the day the dangers of blinds on your windows, choking hazards.
Yes.
Well, yes. I was in one end of the house, and for some reason, I was pushed down the hallway out to the living room just in time to catch my little boy as he was jumping off the back of the couch with the cord around his neck.
Oh.
And I caught him in midair.
Oh.
And I'll tell you, I felt sick to my stomach. Like, I was like, thank you, and he had rope burn. I didn't take him anywhere for weeks because it did not look good. Looked like we tried to, yeah. So those were two, like, instances where I know the angels were there to watch them. So, life went on. We moved to a different town. But I continued, on my spiritual path. And I think at that time I was starting my Reiki journey. But I always, angels were always part of the equation. So this one day, it was the middle of winter, and my husband was due home soon from work. And I'm, making dinner and all that. And all of a sudden, I just had this feeling come over me, and I sat down and I prayed to the angels, watch Steve, please watch my husband. And I just sat there, and about 10 minutes later, he come in the door and he said, kiss me now. He says, you almost didn't. He said he was coming down the road, like there's like a long road that comes into our village, and the roads were icy. And he said this car was coming towards them. They were going to hit. And he said, it was the weirdest thing. He said, we just sort of moved right past each other, and we both kept on going. And I was like, thank you.
Wow.
Yeah. So honestly, the angels really have been listening. And, those are some pretty extreme things, that had happened. Now, I'm going to tell you one more thing. And Michelle, when you were talking about, not seeing angels, there's no proof, you haven't seen them, and all that. It kind of reminded me of this story in a way. Okay, so way back in the day, when I was about 18, I lived on the western side of Canada, in a city called Calgary. And back in them days, we did a lot of hitchhiking. And it was a lot safer back then. There's all we thought, And so I never thought nothing about hitchhiking. And so I got off work this one night, and I worked at one end of the city and lived at the other. And I just thought, you know what, it'll be just a lot quicker to hitchhike home. So I get out on the road, and a car pulls up, and it's a woman. And I get in, and it was wintertime. And so I get in, and she says, where are you going? And I told her what my address was. And it was pretty far. So she never really said anything, but she gave me trouble because I wasn't wearing a hat. She's like, what are you doing out here without a hat on? And she gave me chocolates. She had chocolates. So I'm eating these chocolates and, in this nice warm car. And it seemed like, we got to my destination pretty quick. It was like, the next thing I know, I was right in front of my house. Okay, so that's a long time ago. Never thought nothing of it. Life went on. Here I am. So when I first started to read about angels, that memory came boof right into my head. And I knew without a doubt that was an angel that picked me up that night.
And all I want to say, Dawne, as a mother and a friend, you never take candy from strangers.
Thank you. Thank you.
Get in their cars.
And that.
I only got in the car. Oh my God. Dawne. See?
She's eating
because
that.
Dawne was supposed to be here. That's why.
Exactly. That's true. I'll give you get a pass this time, but if I hear this happening again.
Oh, no. I have my own car now.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. But still, don't take candy from strangers.
Hey, by the grace of the angel,
Dawne.
I am here. But yeah, but it was just the craziest thing as soon as I started to delve into, the existence of angels and what angels were. That memory came to me like full force. And I was like, I never thought of that memory ever again. And I was like, that must have been an angel. Yeah.
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 Wow.
So.
and clearly that you needed to tell that story so we could just let you know for the future.
I won't do that again, I promise.
Exactly. Don't do that again.
Do I have time for one more quick little thing?
You do.
No, this was just how I was learning to use the angels to help me. And it was in the same time. Oh, no, this was before we had moved here. So, in the days when the kids were young. So anyway, we had a front porch and it was the weekend and, we'd had some friends over, spent the day on the porch and dinner time come around. So it's time to go in. So I just gathered stuff up and brought it in the house and made dinner and got on with their night. So the next morning I have to go to work. Can't find the car keys. We have one car and one set of keys. And my husband worked afternoons and I work days. And he's like, where's the keys? I'm like, I don't know. I looked everywhere. I could not find these keys. So I had to take a taxi to work. And so about every hour I'm a hairdresser. So I worked in a hair salon. About every hour I got a phone call. Have you thought about where the keys are? I'm like, I don't know where the keys are. He's like, I have to go to work this afternoon. And so I'm like, angels, please help us find the keys. He has to go to work. And so we need the keys by the time I get home. And I this was my mantra all day long. So I take my taxi home and I go in the door and I'm like, he says, I found the keys. I'm like, you did? I said, where were they? He says, they were in a bag on the kid's dresser. Well, I'd taken all the kids' toys off the front porch, threw them in this bag, and I guess I threw the keys in there too. But then it was like, thank you, angels, for finding me.
Can we tell another car story? Do we have time?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Okay, this again is not me. This is a friend of mine. And this story will be in the next book, the third book of the They stories. So I'm going to call her Mary. Mary lives in Flagler Beach, and she has a friend with this very expensive convertible. And her friend was going out of town and says to Mary, you can drive my car while I'm gone. You can house sit and you can drive my car and just, make yourself at home. So she was feeling like quite, the madam here in this gorgeous car. She's driving around. She gets to a certain intersection in Flagler Beach, and this is a small beach town, right? And the roads are quite narrow. They're still narrow, even. It doesn't seem to matter how much it grows. The roads are still narrow. This car runs a stop sign and should have hit her right in the car and in the driver's door. It absolutely should have hit her. And it did hit her in the driver's door. But when the car stopped, she was no longer in the driver's seat. She was in the passenger seat belted in, and her purse over her shoulder.
What?
She was fine. And everybody was screaming, where's the driver? Where's the driver? And she said, well, I'm the driver. And they said, no, you're in the passenger seat. You're just confused from the accident. She said, I swear to you, I am the driver. They said, that's impossible. You would be dead if you were the driver. Where's the driver?
Wow.
Whoa, that's pretty heavy. Yeah. And to be seatbelted in.
And purse over her shoulder. It's
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Ladies, I forgot about that when you guys brought up cars. I did have a situation like that I forgot about where I was driving and this car should have hit me, but it was like slow-mo, like you're talking about, Dawn, where it was just like, what? And I pull over and I look and I'm like, how did I not even get a scratch from that car? But it felt like slow-mo, where I was like,
Right.
whoa. And I did not get a scratch, which I'm really surprised about. I really feel that that car was touching my car. But when I got out, there was no scratch. So I definitely believe in all of those stories. I forgot to also tell you about the way I also look at angels, real quick. I also believe that we as people, the light, can be angels. Because when my grandmother was passing, I did bring this up in another story. When my grandmother was passing that day, my mother had come with me, and you would think she shouldn't have, or how did that happen? But I'm grateful my mother came with me. And the reason is she was supposed to validate the nurse. That was my grandmother's nurse. And it was, I told you before, it was a traveling nurse that was called in that night to watch over the shift. And when my mom noticed this angel, that's what she called them. That's why I'm saying an angel. When she noticed this nurse that she knew from the hospital she works at, she said, "Oh my God, Leanna, this is my angel. This is my angel. This is my angel nurse." And that's when I also knew that my grandmother was passing that night. I was like, of course, I believe my grandmother orchestrated this with the other side in regards to how she was going to pass. And I could not believe that angel, because I got to know him a little bit that day, he definitely resonated to me as an angel, a living angel in regards to his light. I cannot tell you how grateful I am that he was there that night. And I had mentioned before in another show that my mother had a pacemaker my grandmother had a pacemaker and defibrillator. And you have to turn it off because when you're passing, I won't get too much into it, it does things. So you have to have somebody who's really skilled. They know how to do it, but he reassured us, don't worry. I'm going to make sure everything happens fast. I'm going to be right by her side. And I knew he meant it because my mother could validate him for me. She worked with him at the hospital. He was a traveler nurse over there as well. So I do want to agree. I believe that word angel comes in all shapes and sizes. But like what people have said, I also believe in, for me and what I've seen, the archangels and the angels that have come to me as well as a medium and as an intuitive.
Yeah. And look, we've heard some really amazing stories here today. And it really is our experiences, our beliefs, shape us to who we are and what we do believe in. And I think it's great that we can all come together, and we're not here to argue, to create controversy around it. We're here just to share and respect what each other has experienced and the stories that have been told. And I think that's what's most important, is that we can all come together calmly, kindly, with love and peace, and share our experiences regardless of our beliefs. And I think that's what it comes down to. And who knows, maybe in the future I'll have an experience and I'll come back on and go, okay, I'm a full believer. I'm done. I'm converted. Hopefully it's not in
I would not be surprised.
Experience. I
Me
really
neither.
Yeah, I shouldn't say that because I know, Annie, I think it was last time we were interviewing together, and I said to you we were talking about messages from the spirit world. And I said, yeah, I don't know how you've had so much experience. You've had all these things that happen. Doesn't seem to happen to me. And I literally walked out of this room into my other office, and I've got these fairy lights that go around my monitor, my computer screen. And they were on, and I'm like, that's weird. I was in here just earlier. The room's in, the blinds are still, it's daylight, but the room's in complete darkness because the blinds are shut. And I said to my husband, did you come in here and turn these on? Which would be an odd thing for him to do. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, what? What fairy lights? He obviously hasn't even been in there to see them. That's how often he goes in there. Anyway, and I go to turn the switch off, and it's already off, but the lights are on.
Wow.
Oh.
So here I am messaging Annie going, oh, it happened just after we got off the interview. I had my experience. What the? Anyway, so I can't guarantee the angel experience is going to happen today, but stay tuned. That's all I'm going to say.
I really do.
Oh, thank you so much, ladies. Again, some incredible stories, some amazing experiences of your own and from others. And isn't it great that we have now documented some of your family's history with their stories? Here they are out there to the world for generations to see and for others in the world to share in that. The miracles is what I want to really call it, is the miracles. So stay focused, stay open, and invite those miracles in, and those angels, light beings, whatever you want to call them. Again, we respect everybody's beliefs. Now, Dawne, where can people find you?
You can find me at Medium Dawne on Facebook.
Fantastic. Annie?
You can find me on Facebook, Aynne McAvoy, Psychic Medium, Grief Coach, and on AnneMcAvoy.com. I'm forgetting where everything is, but I'm
YouTube. You're on YouTube.
YouTube, yes.
I don't even have notes. I just know. And I'll put all those links in the comments below in the description. And if you've had, listeners and viewers, if you've had experiences or you have your own beliefs around this, and please be kind because we do respect everybody else's beliefs around angels, please share your stories in the comments. We would really love to hear them. And it's really important for others to hear the miracles or the experiences that you've had. Annie?
I was just telling the people to write
comments. Oh, yes. Yes, Annie's doing the charades to my my voiceover. Yeah, we'd love to hear experiences, and it's like I say, it's important to share stories because this is how we learn and grow. So thank you so much, ladies, for being on the show, and I look forward to having you back again with another topic on another panel. To view the show notes, head over to themediumstable.com.au. If you want to watch these episodes, head over to our YouTube channel, The Medium's Table Podcast.